What is going on, everybody? We are here talking everything that is the Buffalo Bills draft tonight. I got my co-host in the bill with me, as I like to call it, NFL pedigree, former NFL running back, James Mallory. Mal, draft is less than 48 hours away now, and it seems like it took a little bit of time to get here this year, but we are
Yeah,
here. Obviously, we know that draft season can always be the toughest time of the year to uh, go through it for an NFL fan because it just seems like it takes so damn long. You know, you hear all the mocks, all the rumors. Your team need this, your team gonna do that, and half of it, like 70% of it's smoke, right? So, with the draft upon us, what is the what is your take on the draft season in general? Like, how do you like this time of the year?
it's my favorite time of the year outside of obviously the season, right?
Yeah.
This is my favorite time. Favorite time in the off season. The combine stuff is like blah blah blah. Free agency is exciting for the first 48 hours, and then it's like nothing. um, but the draft, it can literally change the whole outlook of your team, the whole everything about your team. It could change your team for a decade, right? You draft the right players, change it for a decade, or it can set it back for a decade. You draft the wrong guys, after 3 years, you gotta reset. So I'm excited about it. It's like I said, it's one of my favorite times of the year. I'll eat bad that day. I will be off my diet on Thursday. Um, I will be eating some good food that is not the healthiest, but I'll enjoy it. Um, it's usually like I get a feeling in my gut I always have. It's like I get excited and anxious, and even when I was a kid, I got that way. And obviously, when I went through the process, it was even more nerve wracking. But
And that was my next question. What do you remember most about your draft process and going through? And I mean, for the viewers who are new, James did go through the draft process as a running back from CCSU, actually leading rusher in the country, right?
yeah, well, I was the fourth leading rusher in the country.
Okay.
Um, yep, but I was 2 years in a row. Mel Kiper had projected me. I was the 14th. I was 14th best running back by Mel Kiper. But with that, what I remember is just being anxious, man, and just I was so many emotions, so many feelings. Like I didn't know where I was gonna go. I didn't know what was gonna happen. If I was gonna get picked, if I was gonna get picked, like whatever. Like it was just a pin in my stomach. I couldn't sleep right. I was just nervous. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't eat right. And it was just like, yeah, it was a lot.
Let me ask you this question, and we'll get on to the Buffalo Bills. Kind of that's what people really want to hear about this because I know somebody's so anxious. Uh, how was your draft process probably differ from these kids now? Obviously, we seeing kids having a lot more choices, making more business decisions going into the draft now. Compared to when you came out.
So it's a lot more. It's a lot different because you got NILs.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like a lot of these kids can advertise themselves on social media a lot different now. When I was coming out, I mean, it was obviously social media was big, but it's not as big as it is now, where you can put videos out there and you just go viral, and next thing you know, a guy who's unknown does some freakishly athletic backflip or something like that. And then next thing you know, they're talking about him being a prospect, right? So I think it's different on that aspect where social media plays a big part of kind of generating a buzz. So I think that's what the biggest difference was. Um, and me, I'm low key. I don't even really like social media like that. So even if I was coming out now, it would be like whatever for me. Um, I was more, even my signing day coming out of high school to college, I didn't do a signing day. Um, I thought that was kind of like a me thing. Like this, I want all the attention. Obviously, everybody knew in the school I was the only Division I athlete. Like I thought about my peers. I'm like, I already know everybody know I'm going. So that morning I signed it. I just faxed it in. I went to the main office. I faxed over my letter of intent. I went on with my day. I didn't want to do a signing day. Like I just knew that wasn't the goal. I had to go put some work in. I didn't want to play Division One. I actually wanted to play Division One football. You know, a lot of
Got you.
people on the roster they play. I wanted to be on the field and make noise. It's a big difference.
Right.
So, yeah, that's why I think it's kind of different now. The social media buzz and just everybody has an opinion now. That you are a click of a button that's out there for millions and millions to see.
Right. And you know, now for you guys that are old enough, you remember the first viral star to go in our time in our era, social media, Tavon Austin. Tavon Austin, original. All right.
Was
So
Cody Paul before him?
who?
Cody Paul. Remember
I'm not
the
sure.
little the youth football sensation?
I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember like going through West Virginia. It was Tavon Austin was everything with the highlights. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
so, but let's hop right in. Let's hop right into this, man. Obviously, the draft is upon us. The Bills got a lot of moves that they got to make. But the first thing that everybody is talking about is the wide receiver position. So we're gonna hop into it.
Yes.
We're not gonna wait. Not gonna wait. Is receiver a first round must for the Buffalo Bills? Obviously, we know Gabe Davis signed with the Jaguars in free agency this year. Then we traded Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans. We signed Curtis Samuel. So we are left right now with a receiver room of Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Matt Collins, and am I missing one?
Hamler. I don't want
Yeah,
to call Hamler a
KJ
shorter.
Hamler's on the future
Hamler,
still. And Shorter.
Hamler, Shorter, and Isabella.
Isabella. Okay. So there's a lot of people talking about the receiver position and how much of the need that this is for the Buffalo Bills. Some people will say, hey, like Dick Wright will say, Josh Allen's a franchise quarterback. Hold him accountable to that. Meaning Patrick Mahomes just won a Super Bowl with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney, and, well, actually, Kadarius don't even play, and Travis
Yeah.
Kelsey. So some people say, well, you got to replace Stephon Diggs, the production of Stephon Diggs, and the production of Gabe Davis. What do you say? Do you say that receivers are must in the first round for the Bills?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Um, First round doesn't guarantee that guy will be a star, right? Think about the guys that's studs in the NFL right now. They weren't first round picks. You're
Mm.
talking about Devontae Adams. Was he a second or third round pick?
DeMonte was a first, late though.
Devontae Adams was a first round pick. You sure?
I thought I remember. I'll check it up. I'll look it up while we're
I think
going.
he's a second round pick. I
Was
think
he?
he's second round.
He may have been. He may have been.
Yes.
Hold on. Okay.
Tyreek Hill. Where did he go? Fifth round, right? You look
Yeah.
at it's a lot. It's a lot of very successful wide receivers that went in later rounds, outside the first. I
Okay.
think that you look at St. Brown, was he third round pick? You look at a lot of these guys, you can find a lot of value second, third, fourth round.
Mm.
Yes, it's cool to want the big name, the one everybody's talking about, but you want to get the right person, right? And I'm a firm believer in just finding the right guy. I don't get caught up in the round. I don't get caught up in that. That's not me. But I definitely don't think that it's a must. I'm a big firm believer on drafting. Um, you draft for the best player available. Whoever's the best player available, you take them. So I think the Bills will stay true to that if they stay at 28. Um, Take the best player available. My main thing is don't miss. Whatever you draft, make sure you draft somebody that's a baller. We don't want to miss. Don't miss on that first round pick. Don't give a damn what position. Don't miss.
All right. So obviously we've been thinking long and hard about this, and obviously a couple weeks ago we spoke about this previous to the Stephon Diggs trade, and I said it's not really a must. Just get the right core. So
Yep.
now post Stephon Diggs trade, I'm gonna say honestly, I think it might be.
Okay.
And the only reason I say that is it's not just the receiver position for the Bills at this point in time. It's the type of receiver that the Bills need. Yeah, We may be able to get a Lat McConkey in the second round if he lasts. We may be able to get a Roman Wilson. But I don't think that's the type of receiver they need. They need a boundary and an impactful X. You gotta have an X now. You know, we've went way too long without having that. Even with Stephon Diggs, like I said, Gabe Davis is a very, very good NFL football player, but the impact was not there at all times, especially last season. I can go back to the stats: 5 games for 0 catches and 0 yards. We can't have a guy that's going to put those type of numbers up anymore, especially if we're going to throw this ball 30, 40 times. Like, obviously, second half of the year, 2023, we ran the football. I'm not sure what the game plan is going to be next year. All I know is we have a $258 million quarterback, and I don't see ownership being okay with pounding the rock 30 times a game when you're paying that type of money. Okay, let's just be real. It's not always about the talent level or what you're doing, the skill level. Sometimes it's about business, and big business is $258 million. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm going to say that it may be a must to draft a receiver in the first round. And the reason I said at the pick that the Bills are picking, it's not like we're picking in a top 10 where you know you're going to come back in the second round and be somewhere anywhere from 33 to 40 or 33 to 43. We don't technically pick again right now currently to pick 60. There's about 4 X receivers I see. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. Obviously, we know that's just a pipe dream. You got Rome Odunze. We're gonna get into him a little bit because I think that's one we could talk about. You got Brian Thomas, who I still put Brian Thomas in the top tier of receivers in this draft. I think that a lot of people put him in second tier, but I think he's in the top tier. And then you start sliding off. You got Adonai Mitchell, who I don't think the Bills have really met with. So I don't think he's on that board too much. Keon Coleman, we know he's had a visit to Buffalo. Xavier Leggett, who's obviously, they call him DK Metcalf clone. But in reality, when we really think about him, there's only 1 year of college production there out of 5 years. So that's a little bit alarming, a little bit concerning. And I think the other elite, the other ex-receiver will be Troy Franklin. Who's obviously he's going to have to put a little bit of weight on. To be.
What did he weigh in at 190 or something like that?
No, he weighed in at 180. The combine was 176, but he said he was sick. When he had his pro day, he rated at 182.
Oh wow, okay.
So he's going to have to put on the NFL 15. All right. But when you talk about who's going to come in and who's going to be able to start day one and make it an immediate impact, and mind you, anything can happen. Like you say, a guy like Puka Nacua comes along last year and lights the league up, breaks all type of rookie records. It happens, but you can't bank on that. You can't bank on it. So I would say at 28, even if you possibly have to overdraft, you take one. Hell, maybe you get lucky and with the medicals that came out, Brian Thomas with the knee and the shoulder surgery or a possible relatively easy shoulder surgery after his rookie season, maybe it drops his stock just a little bit. So I'm going to err on the line of caution and say, listen, you got to get one. And I think you got to do it in the first round. Because there's a big free agency, still a lot of good players left in free agency. But not a lot of ex-receivers. Not the type receivers that the Bills need at this point in time.
Agree. I couldn't agree with you more in regards to that, but I think you can find that. See, it's dangerous when you get into, like you use the word overdrafting. I'm so against that because my main thing is, well, first round picks don't miss. Don't miss. Don't miss. I don't give a damn I don't care if they pick a corner. Don't miss. That's my main thing. We can figure it out. You can get some talented guys and figure it out at receiver. But you missing on the first round pick is so impactful to the organization. Yeah. Right? Because what we'll do is a few years from that, we'll be looking at, oh, this person was on the board. This person, we could add this person. We could add this person. Like, think about the year where we could have drafted Gronk, right? And we drafted a D tackle. If you draft the best player available, we don't have to look back at the draft and say, oh, these 3 players were available.
Was that Terrell Troop?
Yes, it was. Okay. Yes, it was. Even we needed a lineman, right? And then we passed on, even though I'm not a huge DK Metcalf guy, we passed on him. We drafted lineman. Well, everybody knew DK Metcalf was probably the number one player on the board at that time, right? That's why I'm like, yo, just draft the best player available, regardless of position. Don't get into that. It just, I think it can get you in trouble, and that's just my opinion.
So when I say the word overdraft, then I get what you're saying. Like I'm not trying to pull no New England Patriots Cole Strange and draft somebody with a third round grade. But the way I look at pick 28, and especially when you start talking about the first round grades, at pick 28, the odds of us having a bunch of first round grades here is it's slim. It's I wouldn't even call it a first round pick. It's pretty much fringe second round at that point in time. But
Yeah.
you may get lucky depending on how the board goes with quarterbacks. So if you get and it's very possible that you get five, maybe possibly six quarterbacks in the first round. I don't think you're gonna
Yeah.
get six. I think you're gonna get five personally because you know you're gonna get Caleb Williams. You know you're gonna get Jayden Daniels. You know you got Drake May. I think you can pretty much shoe in JJ McCarthy, and that fifth one's gonna come into play is whether Bo Nix or Michael Penix will move into the first. If that
I'm
happens,
thinking that, me personally, I'm betting four. I think
well,
it's
I
gonna be a
think
lot of smoke with those other ones.
I think we can guarantee four. Um, but the Denver needs a quarterback. You know what I mean? There's some teams, and I know Washington is trying to get back up in the first round, and obviously there's smoke around the Giants possibly trying to get a quarterback as well. Now, do I think the Giants are going to take one at six? I think that's all smoke. I don't see that. So if somebody else wants to come up and get one, they can. But I'm hoping someone hits that panic button from that second round and comes up. Maybe the Raiders. Maybe the
Yeah.
Raiders comes the second round time around and gets one. Maybe Denver don't take a quarterback at 12, which I think would be a prime spot to trade up to 12 and maybe check up Brian Thomas Jr. if you want to get him. But would you say? Let me ask you this: would you say that if the Bills moved up to like 12, would that be overdrafting Brian Thomas at that spot possibly?
Yes. To me, yes. Um, Anything 18, 19 down, I'm cool with. If you're going up to 12, you
Mm-hmm.
might as well just go ahead and try to get up there to get a doomsday.
So you know what? I'm just
Go
gonna
up
go
to
to the next topic then. Actually thinking about it because that is a topic that we got tonight. Is should Brandon Beane trade up or trade down? A lot of people, including me, like I said, I'm all for going as high as you can go and trading up and getting run with Doomsday if you possibly can. If somehow the heavens spread and Marvin Harrison Jr. drops and let's just say a Doomsday and Neighbors go before him, which we 99% chance is probably not going to happen. But there's wishful thinking until it happens. It happens. Um, until it happens, there's a chance. Do you think that it would be a bad idea to trade back?
I don't think so. Um, See, I'm a believer in this. I think the Bills should go receiver. Me personally, first and second pick.
Okay.
If there's somebody, if there's two you like, go ahead and do it. Load up on talent for Josh Allen. So nobody you like I said, draft the best player available. But I'm okay with them trading down and gaining another second or whatnot. So just say you trade down to the second, you got that second round pick, you got 60, then you gain another pick on top. I'm cool with that.
Mm,
Long as you have a strong plan in place. Which if
mm.
Bean does that, I'm pretty sure he will probably have a strong plan in place. Um, so I'm definitely comfortable with them trading down, but I would listen. Somebody gonna have to give me a hell of a deal, hell of a deal.
Because so this is how I feel about it, right? If you're hell bent on picking a receiver and you don't see the one you want, and say Troy Franklin's on that board, okay, and Troy Franklin's your guy, you think you can get Troy Franklin at pick, I don't know, we'll say 36, 37. You maybe think you can get Xavier Leggett at 36, 37, maybe 38, 39. I'm not taking a chance. I'm not taking a chance. Because the way I look at it is like this. take what you see on the board at 28. If you feel you need to come back and get a safety, if you feel you need to come back and get another receiver, talk about the 2025 capital, and we're going to talk about that next. We're going to talk about that tonight too, about the capital we have in 2025 to see if we can use that to gain extra pick or extra assets for 2024. Don't get cute and try to take Troy Franklin or Xavier Leggett at 33 or 36, 37, 40, maybe trade back up when you could just take him at 28. At that point, I'd rather just take the pick, take the little bit higher salary, but also have control of the 5th-year option. If I have this much faith in the guy.
That's the thing about that first round pick that gives you. That's why you love that first round pick, because that gives you that 5th year of just control.
Right. And I don't think that's something that we're not talking about. We've lost some players and had to extend some players earlier than needed because we took them in the mid rounds.
Yes.
And you only get 4 years on that deal. So my thing is this, man. The Bills don't need 11 to 12 picks in this draft. When you really, really look at this roster at the heart of it, there's probably about 7 to 8 legitimate roster spots open at this point in time.
I only think 6 rookies will make the squad.
Exactly. So my point is, if you do trade back, let's just say Washington wants to trade back at 36, right? That's a hot spot. Maybe the Cardinals want to trade it from 35 again. I doubt it because they got 427 and 35 and 427, 35 and pick 66. But let's just say Washington wants to trade up from 36. Fine. Okay. 36, they give you 67. Okay. I can get with it. But at the same time, I want to use some of those 4th round picks and maybe that 3rd, and I want to come back up into the 2nd again. I'm only trading down to trade back up again. I don't need 12 draft picks. You don't have room on the roster.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Unless you just find a hidden gem. I mean, a 7th round pick, typical 7th round pick won't make this roster. And that's just the reality of it. And I'll give you my opinion on some ideas they could do to move up and whatnot. So,
yeah, and I'm glad you said the 7th round picks. Like, look at our last couple 7th round picks. Even some of our 6, they didn't make the roster. And even we tried to stash in the practice squad, they were good picks. Not like they were bad players. They got snatched off by other people. Rashad Wildgoose, Alex Austin. What was the center that we got taken from the Eagles last year? I forgot his name.
Are you talking about Anderson?
You got him back, right?
Jack Anderson was the name?
Jack Anderson. Yeah, he went to the Texans. So a lot of people, they poach our practice squad for our late round picks. So it's really no point to use that pick in my opinion. Like, I'd rather have 7 draft picks out of this draft and have 3 of those 7 be impact players in 2024 than I would to have 11 picks and have all these bodies in camp that we're not even going to use. Yeah. Like people think that the Bills have all these holes. They really don't. There's only holes in a couple positions. So, so if pick 9's available, and let's just say for ha-has, Roma Dunze is on the board. You call the Bears. What are you willing to give up at most to move up to pick 9?
My bold prediction is the Bills gonna have 2 first-round picks this year.
Okay.
They're going. I would trade next year if you intend on being a Super Bowl team next year, and you got that Minnesota pick, JT. I'm keeping that Minnesota pick, and I'm trading that first-round pick next year. I'm packaging a couple things to get me another first-round pick. I'm going to move up in the draft this year, JT, but I'm going to move up with next year first and not 28. 28 is going to give me so much flexibility. If I'm able to use next year's first-round pick and some other picks, right, this year picks, and next year's first, I'll move up in the draft to a team who already got 2. So just say number 9. I'll give them next year's first.
Okay.
I'll give them a 4th. Package some things together. A 4th this year, 4th next year, and a 6th. Right? You think they say no to that? Just your opinion. We give them next year first, 2 4ths, and a 6th.
Next year 4th, 2 4th, and a 6.
You give him a 4th this year, 4th next year,
And
and a
you're
6th.
you're trading pick 20. You're swapping 28, right?
Not at all.
No,
I'm not touching 28.
no, I don't think they're gonna take it. I don't think
I
they're gonna
don't
take
know.
it. I don't think they're gonna take it. I think so. If I'm the Bears, now mind you, the Bears only had the reason it's a hot spot. The Bears only have 4 picks in this draft. They got 9, a 1, 9, 75, and 122 off the top of my head. I think that's what they have. They only have 4. So my thing is the max I'd probably be willing to give up is I'm going to give up pick 28. I'm going to give up the first round pick next year. I'm going to offer a 4th. I'm going to offer one of my 4ths this year, my 7th this year, and I would consider giving up next year one of next year's seconds. My second, not Minnesota's second. Buffalo second next year. And that will leave me with Minnesota's second round pick, which we're going to assume, and I'm wrong, as they say, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. You never know what can happen. I'm going to assume that Minnesota is going through a rebuild, and that pick's going to be anywhere from 33 to 41. And if I'm a Super Bowl team, I'm going to look at it as well. I'm going to be picking anywhere from, I'm going to be looking at it as I'm picking 32 next year if I get Rome with Doomsday.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what I'm going to look at it as a GM and if I'm Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. So therefore, I'm trading back maybe 10 slots for next year to move up and get that pick right now. So I'm giving up first round next year, 28 this year, my second round next year, the Buffalo Bills, not Minnesota's, Buffalo Bills second round next year, a 4th and a 7th. That gives the Bears 2 more picks in this draft, bringing them to 6 because no GM wants to go to an NFL draft with only 4 draft picks. Nobody wants to do that, especially a team that's rebuilding. They went out and bought a lot of talent in free agency, but that does nothing for your depth. Absolutely nothing. And injuries are going to happen in the NFL. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I trade for it. The other thing that I would probably do as far as trading up is, like I said, maybe the 12th pick with Denver if they want to trade back, if they can't get the quarterback they're looking for. Same scenario. Not as much. I'd probably give up 28 first round next year and maybe a 4th. Other than that, Brandon Beane is not going to completely mortgage his future for a wide receiver, though.
No, I don't see it. But I do. My bold prediction is the Bills will. I got a feeling they're gonna keep 28. They're gonna use next year's first and some picks to pop up if they do.
Yeah, it might. It wouldn't even shock me if they use next year's first or Minnesota's second next year to trade for Arizona's 35, because Arizona has so much draft capital.
I don't think they will do that next year first for that. I just don't see them doing that for 35.
They might not.
I don't see.
But what if you could do this? What if you could trade next year's first, get Arizona's 35, but also get Arizona's number 90, pick 90.
This year 90. Ooh.
This year 90.
Ooh. No, I'm not.
No. Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
Not for next year first.
I probably would, just because I know I got Minnesota second in the back. That's the only reason I do it. It's like so once again, for me, it's trading back next year for capital this year. It's a little bit different, but I'm going to move on to the next topic. And I want to say, actually, should the Bills trade 2025 draft capital this year for assets? Do you think that any of those picks should really be moved? I guess we kind of talked about it, but just in depth now.
The only thing I really will move is next year's first. I would definitely try to shop that if I intend on going to the Super Bowl. Well, that's the intention. Even think about if we did that last year and we had got the best receiver. Okay, just say last year, who was the top receiver last year, JT, in the draft? Just say Addison.
Yeah.
Addison.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Just say we did that last year and we ended up drafting Addison. We traded this year pick we have, which is 28. We didn't know it would be 28 then. We traded that last year. We got Addison on our team. Nobody in Bills Mafia would be mad that we had Addison on our team and we're not picking 28 this year. Nobody would be mad about that. So that's how I would think about it. That's how I would approach it, and I would try to like hell to shop that my next year first round pick to get 2 first round picks this year. That way, I'll be able to get the best player available and whatever wide receiver I want, and then I could double back in the second, fourth, whatever, and I'm definitely drafting 2 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds.
Yeah. So I put it this way: you have way too much draft capital next year for a team with Super Bowl aspirations to hold on to it. And I don't think that Brandon Beane acquired that draft capital, especially pretty much stealing that second round pick from the Texans for the Vikings second round pick. And mind you, that's not a knock at Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs is gonna go there and do work, but at his age, and to get a second round pick for a receiver past the age of 30 in this league, that's
On a
stealing.
1-year deal.
Yeah, on a 1 year deal. Now that's stealing. It's hamburglar. It's stealing. He should be locked up for larceny, grand larceny at that. Okay, but with that being said, I think you have too much draft capital next year to build this team up right now. And I tell you, I haven't. Leroy, my man, Mud Dog's in the chat. Mud Dog, if you can, just let me know how strong you think next year and my next year's draft class is. If you guys don't know Leroy Winslow, Mud Dog, that's our draft expert out of our group, so he keeps us on our toes and informed with everything. I think you got too much draft capital in next year's draft that can help you right now. You know, when you think about the names we lost, Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, unsure Micah Hyde, Stephon Diggs. You know, you start thinking about these names, that Mitch Morris, these some ball players. These were tenured guys, and some of them damn near perennial all pros or close there to it. So I think that you have to replace them right now in a draft where I know that the talent level in this draft, as far as both sides of the ball, it's not as strong as it has been in the past. But when you're talking about a possibility of 6, even possibly 7 first round quarterbacks, that means talent's going to get pushed down. I would have those 2 first round picks ready to go this year, or at least a first and 2 seconds. I don't give a damn about the 3rd round pick. Give me a first and 2 seconds. I want 3 picks.
Yeah. If you get a first and 2 seconds, a 3rd round is that's irrelevant. Dude, that a 3rd rounder is irrelevant.
Give me 3 picks in the top 70, and I'm cool. And I have the capital to do it. So I would say make it happen. And I think Brandon Beane knows that personally. So, let's see. Moving on. And then I'm gonna read some of you guys' comments too. So if you guys got any questions, go ahead and start putting them in there, and we'll try to answer the best we can. What is the Bills' biggest need not labeled receiver, in your opinion?
Ooh. I would have to go safety.
Okay.
I think that's for plenty of time now. We've been lacking that depth, that safety. We haven't drafted a good safety in a while. So I think we're overdue. We need to draft a young safety that's a baller. We got to go get one. We need that. I feel that's our biggest need outside the receiver.
All right. You know what? I've been on the safety train, and actually, you know, while we're live on air, you know, speaking of safeties, I want to give a huge happy birthday shout out. As you see, I'm wearing the shirt today of former Buffalo Bill 2011 second round pick, Texas Longhorn, Aaron Williams, my brother. So I want to give a big birthday shout out to my guy, man. As I'm telling, hashtag Dubs Day. We're gonna get a man he deserves a round of applause here. You know, we don't do it often, but he deserves one. You know, hey birthday, my brother. Happy birthday. You know what I mean? Clap it up for A-Dub. It's my guy right there, man. Really appreciate that guy. He does a lot of things for me, man. He's helped me out with a lot, and man, one of the coolest dudes you ever meet. So happy birthday, Williams. But moving on. So I'm gonna say that the biggest need was defensive end. I said that couple weeks ago before we re-signed Daquan Jones, and then we added Deshaun Williams, and who was the fourth defensive tackle we ordered? We added one more, didn't we?
The one from Washington.
No, Casey Toole was the DN. I'm trying to think. Did we add? I know we had a fourth one. I just can't remember who it was. Leroy, help me out, man.
Wait, you said that we signed?
Or did we bring somebody back? We got Oliver, Jones, Williams, and who's our fourth? I'm missing somebody. I'm drawing a blank. It don't happen often. It just happens.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's all right. It'll come to us. Leroy, you take care of me, Leroy. I forgot who the fourth D tackle is. But yeah, Austin Johnson. That's it. My guy Austin Johnson. Okay.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking about. Okay. So before we signed those two guys, I'm like, all right, that kind of laid me at bay a little bit. I think that the defensive tackles are going to drop in this draft. I think you're going to have guys like Tyler Davis, Mekhi Wingo, Jordan Jefferson. I think you're going to have a lot of guys in the 5th round, and we have those multiple picks that we can take and actually make this roster. Okay? I think we can take Dwayne Carter from Duke. So
yeah,
there's multiple guys that we can take.
What round is Chris Jenkins projected?
2nd.
Is he that high? Oh.
Yeah, 2nd. Yeah.
I was hoping he'd be one to slide. I like him.
Hey, just saying, if you have a first in 2 seconds, you can make that move. Just saying, that's what having a first in 2 seconds does for you, though. It gives you 3 picks in the top 75 players.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I would have said defensive tackle. I think we can get away with getting a rotational guy in the 5th round, a developmental guy, and a guy that can actually sit and develop under some really good veterans. If you want to go an extra 0 technique, 1 technique, like Devontae Sweat, whose stock has taken a hit lately, you can go that route. If you want to go a guy like let's say a Ruka from Clemson, we don't know where he's going to go. I think he's projected 2nd round. I think he's going to drop to a 3rd. If you want to go that route where he's more raw, but he'll be a 2 to a 4 technique, you can do that. It gives you that option.
Yes.
But I think you can wait on that. So I would say right now the biggest need behind receiver is going to be defensive end.
Okay.
Even with the signing of Casey Toohill. The reason I say that is this. Greg Rousseau is coming up to 1 year left on his deal. AJ Epinesa had a really good season last year, but it was kind of a unicorn season. All right, contract year. You got to be careful of that.
Yeah.
Von Miller, as much as we assume he's going to return to form, because there was signs at the tail end of 2024, we don't know that for sure. He's going to be 36 years old. Okay? In NFL years, that's pretty damn old. That's almost close to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. You know what I mean? Spammers telling you that your family member in jail, they need you to send up $1,000 right now. That's how old that is in the NFL. And I know Von Miller is 101. And I'm going to say, man, he going to hit them incentives next year and get his money back. But I cannot assume that. So I would say that after that position, receiver position, that defensive end and pass rusher, because of your lack of a future at that position as well, is the biggest need. And that's why when we talk about pick 28, hey, I'm with you, James. If you don't feel receivers is a must at round 1 and you want to pass, then take the best player on the board, and that may be a defensive end, a Latu, possibly, who has medical issues from UCLA. Without the medical the red medicals for the neck, he's a guaranteed top 10 pick probably.
Yeah.
But in a loaded quarterback draft, in red flags with medicals, he may be there. This may be your second type of Greg Rousseau type of pick. So maybe you go.
I'm not mad at that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills took him or the safety from Iowa. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them two are the 1st round pick and it's not a receiver. I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Cooper DeJean. Like I said, you think safety's a problem? Okay. Well, you know what? We all love Micah Hyde. They say the closest thing in this draft to Micah Hyde is another Iowa Hawkeye, Cooper DeJean. Hell, we don't even know where the hell his draft stock is. He's anywhere on this board from pick 9 to the second round. But it's a guy that fits our scheme.
Yes. Play a bunch of different positions. You can move them all over. And people don't realize. So, for example, if you roll, if people don't remember, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer was such a problem when the first 3 years or so together because they'd be too high. If they roll down the cover 3, both of them were capable of rolling down to being a strong safety. So it was very, very hard to get a pre-snap read to see which one it is because they were so versatile. So if you get another versatile guy, you put him out there with Mike Edwards, you put him out there with Rapp, you literally like those guys are so versatile. You don't know what you're about to get literally. The defensive look, you can fool the offense quite a bit. If you feel that strongly about him in the air, take him.
Yeah. And I go back to Latu. The reason I like the pick is because he has a chance to develop. You remember when we drafted Shaq Lawson and there was an immense pressure on him
to come in and get 10 sacks.
To come in and get 10 sacks. People didn't even realize what type of football player he was. He is a solid football player. He's still playing professional football almost 10 years later because how solid he is. He was never going to be a 10-sack guy. That wasn't his thing. He's a guy who could defend the run. He was going to hold the edge. And what he doesn't get credit for was his IQ. But we see the first-round pick and the first-round tag, and we automatically assume 10 sacks. Now, Latu, you get him. That's a guy that you say, hey, this guy's probably a future 10-sack guy in the NFL.
Yeah, he could be a situational pass rusher where you literally saying, go get him.
He's the guy that when you get to the second half of the season, and let's just assume that Von Miller has returned to form and he's playing solid football. He's a guy that could come in, play right away, keeps Von's snap count down a little bit, keep Greg Rousseau's snap count down a little bit, maybe finally give me that NASCAR formation I've been looking for like 5 years now. Okay, we still ain't got it. But maybe he gives you that. But in the second half of the season, he's fresh. And he's starting to get it. It's clicking. Everything's working for him. George Kalafis, Kansas City Chiefs. Think about how his rookie year went in his second half of the season when it clicked. It clicked when he was fresh. And it paid huge dividends. Because you know when you got to get to the playoffs, and we're going to assume that this is going to be playoffs, you know you're going to see Joe Burrow. You're going to see Lamar Jackson. You're going to see Pat Mahomes. Hell, you're going to see Tua. I got immense respect for Tua. No disrespect to Tua. You better have some pass rushers. You better have somebody that can get to that quarterback. Because if you don't, you're going to get diced up.
Yeah.
So I think that defensive end is. You think safety is. Give me, while we're on the topic, right? What do you think of a guy like a Cam Kitchens? I know a lot of people are high on him. I know he's been mocked to Buffalo a lot. University of Miami. What do you think about bringing that type of thing? Because you talked about rolling coverages and how you could disguise things. What do you think about a guy like Cam Kitchens coming to Buffalo and playing in this game, Sean McDermott?
I'm with it because I think he's a baller. Mm-hmm. Like some guys are just ballers. I think he fits that mold. From what I've seen, he would bring some attitude back there too. So I'm with it. I would be off of that. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Okay. I'm not against Cam Kitchens. I mean, obviously I'm a Florida State guy, so there's a little bit of disdain in there for the you call the so-called
I'm a Florida State fan.
But I wouldn't mind having a Hurricane on the roster. But at the end of the day, I'm just all jokes aside. I think he's a good football player. I think if we can get someone like him with possibly getting a third-round pick, I personally think he may jump to the fourth round. Just me personally speaking,
really?
because of the testing. I think he may drop to the fourth. I think that
he ran 4.6, right?
Yeah. I think the safeties as a whole are going to drop in this draft. Personally, I think that's going to be one that presents a sacrifice. But you saw that happen last year, and look what the Lions got in Brian Branch.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
just saying, that's how I kind of think happens. I think that a very, very quiet need that the Bills may have that no one's really talking about, maybe interior lineman.
That's a huge need. I mean, you have to. I wouldn't. I said this earlier. It was yesterday in our chat. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a guard
Yeah.
like
Like,
early.
I know they've endorsed David Edwards as a starting left guard, but I said when they drafted Lyle Collins and not drafted, signed Lyle Collins the other week, that Brandon Beane said he sees him as a depth piece, rotational piece, as a right tackle, but he also said we also see him as possibly a guard. To me, that spells competition.
His contract doesn't say you're gonna be a backup.
Who, Lyle Collins?
Yes, that contract says you compete and start.
What did he end up getting? I lost it on that one.
Ooh, it can be up to 5.6 or 6.5, something like that.
Playing time incentives?
I
Probably.
believe so. Some incentives in it.
So
Mud Dog will know the exact deal.
yeah, my dog, you got us. We need that. Lyle Collins numbers, man. Put them in the chat for you. But yeah. So I think that interior alignment could be a need. I think if a guy like a Christian Haynes from UConn is there in the second round, if you got a first and 2 second round picks, we going back to that 2 second round pick thing. That may be a guy you can take, and now you got your bookend tackles with Dawkins and Brown, but you got your bookend young guards, 2 on rookie deals with Torrance and possibly like a Haynes and McGovern at center. Or maybe they take a center and kick McGovern back over to guard. It's things that the Bills can do there. So I think that's a sneaky need as well. But let's see here. I'm going to get to some of these comments. Let me just change the background here. Boom. Okay, we're going to get to some of these questions here. I got D-Dot says, what up, D-Dot?
D-Dot.
Tune in. He actually corrected me. He said they did run a NASCAR Yasha before Von got hurt, but once he went down, they stopped kicking Rusu inside. That is actually correct. My man David Smith says, I wouldn't be mad if Bean gave the Cardinals 3 first-round picks, 3 first picks this year, and next pick at 4. David, I think that's Marvin Harrison Jr. This comment, let me know if that's Marvin. I think he going for Marvin. I don't think anybody be mad at Marvin though.
I'm not good. I don't think there's many players in the league outside of quarterbacks that's worth 3 first-round picks.
What? But it's Marvin.
If you're gonna do that, you might as well just go trade for Justin Jefferson. You might as well call Minnesota and tell them I got 3 first-round picks for you. What you want to do?
Yeah, but Justin Jefferson's gonna cost about $150 million.
It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed he's a baller. I'm not giving you 3 firsts for a gamble. At the end of the day, all these are gambles. Listen, it's not happening. All right. If you want 3 first-round picks, Minnesota, check this out. 24, 25, 26 first-round pick.
That's funny. When Anthony Farrell says, this comment's like taking a little longer to go up here. Okay, there it is. Trade up if you're guy. If you can't, trade back for seconds and early third. Let's see. I know we had a couple comments in here too. Leroy asked, got Lyle Collins' numbers. Collins will earn a base of 1.2, sign a bonus of $290,000, and a workout bonus. We know players love those workout bonus. Free $80,000 while carrying a cap hit of 1.5 and a dead cap of 1.5. So yeah, like you say, man. He also says up to $5 million in incentives.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I love Mud Dog, man. Mud Dog is like quick, man. Like
you don't send the guy. You don't put it, that's not you. You're gonna be on the bench. That's like if he do lose a certain job, like okay, you're gonna be a rotational guy. You're gonna be on the field.
Our man Calvin C. Smooth Carter says, as long as we bring in 2 receivers in the draft. You know what? It's funny because you've been saying that since the end of the season. You gotta take 2. Do you feel like
I didn't? I'm sorry, what you saying, JT?
You feel like you guarantee you have to take 2 this draft.
I said that before we even got rid of Stephon Diggs. You
Yeah.
have to draft 2 wide receivers. It's no ifs, or buts about it. I feel this way. You have to draft 2 within the first 4 rounds, and you also got to go sign a veteran free agent.
Which brings our Major Co asks a question. Our guy Major Co. If available, he has to put our GM hat on. Hold on, let me put that on. Right.
As a matter of fact, Calvin, I got to show my man Calvin love, CTSU guy, Connecticut guy. Okay. Man, he you got a 716 pass, man. Anytime you come to the 716, I love. And JT, he's a Chicago Bulls fan like us as well. That's my guy. That's my guy.
We need more of us Jordan babies in this world. You know,
yes.
The only babies that really know what determination taking to winning, unlike them Lebanonites. All right, but Mexico says, would you reach out to receiver Michael Cole for 1 year prove-it deal, or do you think his time in the league is over all the injuries? I also thought his injuries, air quotes, were because he went out of New Orleans. So
he signed, didn't he?
I don't know what the hell going on with that situation. Last thing I heard,
he signed in L.A.
I don't know what he did. I don't think so. He was fighting. Last thing you know, he was fighting with that damn receiver, the reporter. Hey, listen. Michael Thomas was a very good receiver, and I don't know if he's that good anymore. I can't tell you if he is or not because we ain't seen him. I ain't seen Michael Thomas about 3 years. So, knowing our history and our luck with signing people like that, I'm good, man. No. Listen, no. You know what? If we gonna do that, just give me Hunter Renfrow. I'll just take Hunter Renfrow. Because, plus, he's outspoken. I don't think that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott want to bring another outspoken receiver in this locker room right now.
I don't think so either.
Because I think it's been proven it's not good for our quarterback psyche, who may or may not be an alpha. Just saying. It is what it is. So, no Michael Thomas. I just think good player. But someone like Atlanta or Carolina or Miami Dolphins, where he's trying to go, should pick him up. I think his interests are no longer football. Matter of fact, speaking of Michael Thomas, what would you feel about Odell Beckham?
I would like Odell Beckham. I think he would actually fit the need that what we need as an outside receiver. Actually, be a perfect fit for him. If he was smart, he would sign here on a very cheap deal because that dude would be able to thrive. He would just thrive.
My man Maurice. What's up, Maurice? He says, yep, you got to get 2 receivers. Sean agrees completely with us. My man Sidney Watson, TC Pride, stand up. Back-to-back receivers, first and second round, inside Michael Thomas. I'm cool with the first and second round, but he can give me somebody else.
There's like 5 other receivers I would sign before Michael Thomas.
At this point, I would. In all actuality, in all realness. That I don't know if that ankle is ever going to be better. I think that his ankle is completely damaged. I really do. Brian Thomas and Lat McConkey. I like that combo.
I would not be mad at that at all.
I like that combo. My man Maurice too. He's also a Bulls fan as well. Bills and Bulls. Yeah, Bills and Bulls.
Let's go.
We're gonna start a half the show next year. We're gonna do 30 minutes Bills, 30 minutes Bulls. And neither one of them going to win no damn championship. There's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of anger.
Listen, the Bulls about to make some moves. Watch.
No, we're not, man. I'm not holding my breath. Josh Allen to bring us to before the Bulls do something.
Yeah, true.
Anthony Farrell says that's why he goes for Brian Thomas, a quiet and a good kid.
I don't think they're looking for that. Now, that's quiet. There's a difference between quiet and just being outspoken.
Yeah.
It's a difference. It's how you do things too. You know, because you need that dude that's gonna talk some trash. If you watch Brian Thomas play, ain't nothing quiet about that man playing. He gonna talk his talk. He's not quiet.
Leroy says, Central White Chocolate, pause. Ricky Purcell, and I'll be happy. Leroy commented, it is not mine. I'll endorse the player. I will not endorse the caption. Sidney Watson says we need size of receiver. And you know what? I'm glad that he said this because this is something that we've been talking about for 2 years now. I 100% agree. We have to have a receiver with size. So I keep saying we got to get a big X, a big boundary. We need something different. We've lost to the Chiefs with the Smurfs, John Brown and Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders. We've lost with Stephon Diggs, Shakir. But the one thing we have never had during this era is a big receiver. And I'm not talking about the sporadic or spontaneous use of Duke Williams being called up off the practice squad. I'm talking about one that could play every week. And I'm not talking about Calvin Benjamin either because Josh Allen was not even developed at that point. So we need something different in this receiver.
Let's be real here. The last effective bigger wide receiver we've had was T.O.
Yeah, and it was so, and no disrespect to T.O. at all. But when you have to give a 34-year-old receiver the key to the city, the minute he gets here, that means that we hadn't had one in a long time. Before him, it was Eric Mose, who I think was the best receiver in Bills history, personally. So I agree with my man Sid. We gotta get size. You have to have size. We have to have something different in that room. Calvin says Tyler Boyd. That's a name that I'm really high on too. But I'm gonna give you guys one more name that's a little bit cheaper. Marquez Valdez Scantling. He's coming off a couple Super Bowl runs, played in big games. Speed guy, bigger receiver. If you have to have somebody developed, my man says.
And I'm gonna throw a combo I would like out here too, real quick.
What you got?
Xavier Worthy, and then you go take Jerry Rice son in the 4th round.
Brendan Rice. I like that combo. I like that. I like that. I'm a fan of that. My man Calvin.
Johnny Wilson, Florida State. I forgot about him. He's 6'7", right?
Yeah, he's something. Yeah, he's tall. He's tall. Yeah. As Steve Smith said it, and if you guys, if you good chance, go watch some of former NFL receiver Steve Brisk breakdown, and his comment on Johnny Wilson was, he is special at a lot of things, but he's not on a football field.
So you don't think you want to take him in the 7th?
In the what?
7th.
Yeah, sure. He won't make the team like the rest of our 7th round picks.
Oh.
Sure. That's perfectly fine. I'm an FSU guy.
Listen. He was on the field a lot more than Justin Shorter was.
Yeah, well, I tell you what. Justin Shorter got better traits than Johnny Wilson does at this point. And that's what my man Anthony asked about Justin Shorter. I mean, I don't think he's forgotten, but not for nothing, he's a 5th round pick for a reason. And I'm not knocking late round draft picks, okay? But if he breaks out during camp and has a great camp, breaks out during preseason, great. Hell yeah. We get a steal. I'll take it. But I ain't banking on it.
Andy Isabella make the team before him. My thing is this. If you're that physically gifted and you didn't dominate, and then last year you had every opportunity, needed playmakers at receiver, we had to go get Andy Isabella and promote him from the practice squad. It tells you a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I that's what I'm saying. I agree. Like, I mean, he has all the traits in the world, but end of the day, it's not something. It's not something that I'm going to, and I like that combo too, Patrick Leggett and McConkey. I'm a big fan of that tandem too.
I'm scared of Leggett. I don't know.
I'm fearing it, but like if you give me a McConkey, if you want to take a chance on someone who's a project a little bit possibly, but you give me another one that's high, that's solid, I'm okay with it because if the project don't work out, you still got this one.
I think McConkey is definitely like he's one of those guys where I think he's a guaranteed solid pro. He's gonna have a really good career.
Yep. So I'm sorry, I forgot what I was saying now. Were we talking about shorter? Yeah, I was talking about shorter. So I'm just like, listen, I just feel like I'm not gonna go into camp banking on that. If he breaks out, great.
No.
But I'm not going into camp. I'm expecting this kid to compete for the sixth receiver spot on this team, and maybe a practice squad shot. If he breaks out, great, perfect. You can't go wrong with it. But I'm not gonna bank on it. Not forgotten. Yeah, the Devon said all reports point to him being raw. He's correct because, like, listen, when you go to the Florida Gators, and this is not a not because I'm a Florida State fan. A lot of their players in the last couple of years, they're coming out raw. Why? Because they're not getting good development. They're not getting good coaching. That's why the Gators are where they are right now. That's why Florida State, unfortunately, can't get to the college football playoff because our rival sucks, and our rivalry game is no longer a rivalry game. So that tells you what type of coaching they have. So maybe he is extremely talented, and maybe it is his fault for not for choosing the blue and orange and not going into that garnet and gold. Maybe that means he made a bad choice. It is what it is. Just saying. So maybe he is that, but I'm not going to sit there and wait for it. That's all. And even Leroy said he didn't even start at Florida.
I never had much talk in that.
So Ray Cruz says Cortland Sutton. I know he's been on a couple of shows talking about Cortland Sutton. There was a report that came out this week that said the Broncos, they're not trading him. That's what it said. I don't know how true it is. It could be the smoke season. But they said they're not trading him. And I would be hard-pressed to not believe him at this point in time after trading Jerry Jeudy. I don't think unless they just completely tank next year for like Shadur Sanders or something.
The Bills have a unique opportunity here. What the Bills can do, their top 5 wide receivers can be locked in for the next 2 years. And you talking about not even paying $20 million to the whole room. And these guys can be balling. That's unique, man. And they got to capitalize on it. I mean, that's why I don't think they're going to trade for like maybe a big name wide receiver, but I think they're going to trade for one. They're going to get another one in here, a veteran. Yeah. But I mean, why not?
A name I keep talking about, a veteran, is Rashad Bateman keeps coming to me. I think that may be a name that may be out there that you could trade for and be like, hey, let me trade maybe a late round pick and just see we can bring him in and see what happens. It ain't gonna cost me much. Let me just see what happens. Sean says we need a stud and upside guy. That's why I like that combo of McConkey and a Leggett, or maybe a Leggett and a Pearsall, something like that. And like Maurice just says perfectly, and it's funny, I was just talking to you about the same thing the other day. The Packers formula: draft and build together the receiving core.
Yep. The only dangerous part of that is you got to pay them all at once. That's gonna be the part where you're going to have to lose one or whatnot. But I mean, you got 4 years to figure it out. 4 years of great production to figure it out.
And the Steelers should do the same thing. Emmanuel Sanders, Antonio Brown. You resign one, you lose one, you do it all over again.
Yeah.
But if you keep hitting on one, at some point you're gonna have 3 good ones, 3 to 4 good ones, and each year you're gonna replace the one that you're losing.
Yes.
So, my man Calvin says we feel we need to get an edge rusher as well. If it's available, I say so. I would say so for the foreseeable.
They're gonna draft one. They're gonna draft it. But it's gonna be a specialist. It's gonna be a guy that's probably he's gonna be one of those thin, lean guys that can really just rush off the edge.
Yeah. So. McConkey said, D-Dot says, McConkey be solid if he passes the medicals, and that knee tendonitis is manageable for the foreseeable future. Absolutely, I agree. So, James, we're getting ready to wrap up here pretty soon. Give me one more bold prediction, and give me your dream scenario of the Bills' first 3 draft picks in this NFL draft. Just off top of
So you want me outside of that? I think the Bills are gonna have 2 first-round picks this year.
Yep, one more outside of that.
They'll trade for a player during the draft.
Okay.
May not be a receiver, but it's gonna be a player included in the trade during the draft. Okay. That's a bold prediction.
Okay.
And then what was the other? You said a dream scenario?
Yeah, your top three picks for the Bills. And it could be your 2 first rounder bold prediction, it could be a second rounder, or it could be 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2, and 4. Top 3.
three guys I would love to see on our roster.
Mhm.
Roma Doomsday. I just don't think that's gonna happen. I think that's like
Yeah.
1%. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go Worthy.
And you guys put it in the chat too if you guys want, so I can put it up on the screen. You got?
Okay, Worthy.
Okay.
All right,
Come
there
on.
we go. We're going Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay.
We're going the DN from UCLA. What's his last
Okay.
name?
Late
Latu.
Yeah.
And then we going fourth round. We're going Braylon Allen, running back, Wisconsin.
Okay, I like that. Okay, I like that. So you went Brian Thomas. So I'm assuming you trade up for Thomas. So
Yep, you'll use it next year first to get up in the top. I'm looking at like between 15 and 18. If he's there, you use next year first round pick and some other capital to get there. You still keep 28. And because I think he's gonna fall. Something tells me he's gonna fall.
Okay, and you took Latu, and you took Braylon Allen. Okay.
In the
I like.
second, they gives you some wiggle room in the second to do what you do, whatever. Probably be a D tackle, or a wide receiver again.
I like it.
But Braylon, that dude, man, listen, if you get him and you pair him with James Cook, dangerous.
Okay, I like it. All right, so let me give you three. Here. My three dream scenario. So you went Brian Thomas, so I that would be my first of my scenarios. So I'm not gonna go Brian Thomas on this one. I'm gonna be a little bit different. Hey, what's up, Minky? How you doing, buddy? Hope all is well over there in Arizona. So I'm gonna say, okay, I need somebody. Leroy says, Mud Dog says, Xavier Worthy, Frazier, the offensive lineman, and Javon Baker for UCF. I like it. I like that one too. All right, so I'm gonna go different than Brian Thomas because you went there.
All right, let's switch then. You can have Brian Thomas. I'm gonna say Troy Franklin.
No. Don't make it easy on me. Don't make it easy.
Okay.
Wait a minute. All right, I'm gonna go Tyler Nubin, safety, Minnesota. Then we're gonna come back. We're gonna go Xavier Leggett, South Carolina. And I'm gonna come back with the third pick in this scenario is going to be. I took Newman in the first. I took Leggett in the second. I am going to go Audric Estime, Notre Dame, running back.
Okay.
I think you addressed three needs there. So the reason I went that way is Leggett is your boundary guy. If he turns out to be the guy we think he can be, you got your boundary. You got your X, right?
Yep.
Tyler Nubin, you got your free safety in the future. In present and future, right? That allows you to move Taylor Rapp more into the end of box and third downs and Mike Edwards over to strong. Okay? Then you went Audric Estime, that gives you your power back. Now we know that the Bills wanted to have that tandem of Zach Moss and James Cook moving forward.
Yep.
You lost Moss, obviously he requested a trade for a little lower usage, and obviously it worked out for him. Shout out to my guy Zach Moss too, out there with the Cincinnati Bengals. But it gives you that power back. You have a guy who had 18 rushing touchdowns in last year in Notre Dame. Okay? 18 touchdowns in college. That means you know how to find the end zone.
Yep.
Obviously we tried to have that with Latavius Murray last year. Didn't really quite work out. We thought it had with Damian Harris. That didn't work out either. So now you draft another guy. Now you got Estime. And the third guy I had was... that's my three.
Yeah, those Wisconsin backs. You got. That's why, man. If you can get your hands on Braylon Allen in the fourth, man.
So I love Braylon Allen, but it doesn't seem like the Bills really met with him too much. So I'm just like, well, maybe they don't have him on his board. I mean, maybe they're stashing. Maybe it's one of those things where they're not talking about it. Meaning with it, they did the same thing with Zach Moss now.
Kincaid too.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
didn't meet with
So
Kincaid.
no. So just saying. Uh, I like I said, I agree with you guys. I think Brian Thomas is the guy that they're going to target, though, and I think most people think that right now. And I was told by my friend who was an agent the other day, ask players how much they where did they think they were going, and if they end up there. And I've asked the majority of players that I've talked to, and most had a good idea. And Brian Thomas has already mentioned the Bills. Like I said, I ain't saying the draft is scripted. I ain't doing that whole crazy conspiracy theory thing. But you
It's
have
damn
a
sure
good,
ain't, because I will know. And damn sure not.
yeah. So, but you have a good idea who's interested in you or not, especially in 2024. So, even neighbors, that D Dot even said, even neighbors put out there he thought that Brian Thomas Jr. would be a Bill. That ain't falling out the sky, people. It ain't falling out the sky. So, but yeah, Mel, and that, man, the draft is it's finally upon us. We're about 48 hours out. It seemed like it takes forever to get to this point, and then before we know it, we're gonna be back in these crowd in the in the stands, freezing our asses off, yelling and cursing and eating $12.99 hot dogs with the $8.99 cup of soda with it at these games, all amongst ourselves, our peers, having fun. But no, James, any final thoughts before the Bills go drafting?
My final thought is just I hope the Bills just go best player available. Go play. If we come out whatever we come out with, just you can't miss. You can't miss. Go best player available. All fans relax. We've done pretty well in the draft. Trust it. Don't get pissed off if we don't go receiver in the first round. Don't get all emotional. Because I ain't gonna lie, I was pissed when we took Kincaid last year. I couldn't be happier with that pick now. I was pissed.
Hey.
But man, I couldn't be happier with that pick. I could not be happier. Because I probably would be the main one pound at the table for us to go get the tight end from Georgia. Now, if we didn't have Kincaid. So just be patient, respect the pick, and let's see how it play out. Because as long as we get ballers, we're gonna be good.
Yeah, you know, and actually, Ray, we did not talk about the partial. We'll talk about it because we'll do a post-draft show too at some point. So, and actually, you know what? While D Dot's on, we'll get D Dot on that show because we haven't had him on in a while. So we'll make sure we get D Dot on that show too.
Yeah, sure.
And I will say this: I was highly upset when the Bills took Josh Allen. I was highly upset.
I wanted Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
I wanted
Josh
Rosen.
I'm a Josh Rosen guy. I admit it too. I'm a Josh Rosen guy too. Hey, listen. Hey, it worked out for the best. All right, I admit it too. I was mad when the Bills took Josh Allen. I was mad when the Bills took Dalton Kincaid, and I was a little uneasy when they took Greg Rousseau. I was ecstatic when they took Sammy Watkins. I was ecstatic when they took C.J. Spiller, and I was an ecstatic.
I wasn't. I wasn't. That was my draft. That was my draft.
I
wanted the Bills to pick me in the 7th.
And I was ecstatic when they took A.J. Epinesa. So all I'm going to say is this, man. If I'm upset on Thursday night, by trends, it's probably going to be a good thing. So let's just hope that they do something to piss me off. Because if they do it, it's probably going to work out in the favor of the team. That's how history has trended. So cool. Actually, I was you know who I was really, really happy with years ago? When they took Todd Collins. So, hey, listen, I got a history of this thing. So piss me off on Thursday night, Bills. Piss me off. And I'll be happy. So, other than that, man, thank you guys for tuning in. You know, we normally don't do draft talk. But I think this year we actually both like legitimately paid attention to draft. I haven't done draft talk in years, man. I really haven't. I usually take a break, but we stay glued in this year, man. I'm proud of us.
Yes. It's exciting. I think this draft a little bit different because of that Diggs trade and the need, the urgency for wide receivers. So I think it's a little bit different this year.
Yeah. Hey, Keon Coleman, any chance you think the Bills interested? No. Okay. Not gonna go much further than that. Just no. No is no. No means no. So unless
he just drastically falls into something that's like, wow, he's there. Other than that, no.
Okay. No, a lot of people throw his name out there. That's why I figured I'd ask. So, other than that, guys, enjoy the draft on Thursday night. Make sure you take a little nap, cause we, unless we move up to number 9, which Brandon Beane, this thing on. Just saying, Bears got 4 draft picks. Roma Dunze, listen, I don't ask for much, but I'm just saying, if you can get it done for the right price, I wouldn't be mad at you. Just saying. Just whisper to Brandon Beane, Don't want to tell the man what to do. But on that, guys, as always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for chiming in. This show wouldn't be without your comments and your input. We love it. Thank you. And we will catch you guys the next week after the draft.
Yes.
We'll be back next week after the draft. So other than that, stay safe, stay cool. Peace.